Welcome back, guys. That's Sam. I'm Phil, and we're checking out Bob Seger today.
Yes, it's been a little while since we did some Bob Seger.
How long has it been?
A while.
A while. That's all we get. It's been a while. But we have loved Bob Seger.
Yeah.
He's been really great.
Old time rock and roll, I think, is my favorite so far.
It's one that sticks out. Also, we did Bill Haley more recently in the comments. That was one where there was a dance show going on from the 1950s, right?
That was cool.
And I had said in that one, the song reminded me of Bob Seger's old time rock and roll. And what some of the commenters had said was that Bob Seger was, in fact, trying to mimic that sound to a degree.
True.
So that was the last kind of reinvigoration of Bob Seger that we've had on the channel. So
yes,
that sparked coming back to him. And now we have Against the Wind. This is a pretty big one in his catalog.
This is pretty popular. Went to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, I believe.
It did, and it also won him his first Grammy Award.
Yeah, so this must be a good one. I'm excited to check it out.
There's also an interesting tidbit about Glenn Frey from the Eagles being featured as the on the background vocals in this one. So there's a lot to this. I'm looking forward to it. And if you forgot about this song and you want to add it to your playlist, you can do so by going in the description, grabbing that link for Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, putting it on your playlist. We always do that for all our content. So if you're checking out a video, just go in the description. It'll be there for you. Sam, you've really loved Bob Seger thus far?
Yeah, I thought it's been really cool to learn more of his catalog.
And you're ready to find out about his catalog a little bit further?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's check it out.
All right, let's roll, guys.
Oh, horse.
Seems like yesterday, but it was long ago. Jane, it was lovely, she was the queen of my night. There in the darkness with the radio playing low and the secrets that we shared. Mountains that we moved, caught like a wildfire out of control, till there was nothing left to burn and nothing left to prove.
Nice.
And I remember what she said to me, how she swore that it never would end.
Okay.
I remember how she held me oh so tight. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. Against the wind, we were running against the wind. We were young and strong, we were running against the wind. And the years rolled slowly past, myself alone, surrounded by strangers I thought were my friends. I found myself further and further from my home, and I guess I lost my way. There were oh so many roads. I was living to run and running to live, never worried about paying or even how much I owe. At a time, breaking all of the rules that would bend. I began to find myself searching for shelter again and again. Against the wind, little something against the wind. I found myself seeking shelter against the wind. Well, those drifters' days are past me now. I've got
So smooth from Bob Seger yet again. That's what I remembered. You know, as soon as we got into it, it's been a while since we've done some Bob Seger, but that's instantaneously almost what I felt right off the bat was this guy is smooth.
Yeah, very, very smooth vocal. And I feel like the keys are bringing a lot of like kind of personality to this and kind of tugging on your heartstrings a little bit.
Piano is fantastic.
Yeah, like I feel like it's bringing more of an emotional element to it, which I like. And kind of cool metaphor, right? Like running against the wind. Like I take that as a metaphor is that like, you know, in life, you're running against the wind because, you know, you have to go against hardships and you have to persevere. And maybe he's talking about maybe having made not some of the best decisions and, you know, having to live with that and evolve past that and grow through that. So I think it's really cool.
Agreed. I think he's, you know, talking about life in general, right? Running against the wind, that there's always something in front of you that can provide some resistance. That's what the wind does.
Yes.
Makes your life just a little bit harder when you're running against it.
The easiest.
Depending on how big of a gust of wind it is, it can be a little more difficult. And I think, again, that's why it's a great analogy, right?
Yeah.
And I really also love, we mentioned the piano, but I love the snare, how it plays off the piano. It has a great pop to it, which adds a steady rhythm. So you had you said the emotional side from the piano, but I think that rhythm is really strong in this one that gives you that straight groove to get into.
Like some grounding there against the more kind of melodic flow of the piano.
Yeah, and then also you have his vocal, which sits in perfectly to give you some of that emotive vibe. And at the same time being melodic and free flowing with that groove. So it's a great combination on this, I find. And we haven't got into any of those. You didn't hear any of the backing vocals yet, right?
Not that I could pick up, no.
From Glenn Fry that we read about. So I hope that summary that we put together was correct. And we still got a little bit here, but I'm really liking this one. I don't think there's been anything we've heard from Bob thus far that I haven't just loved his style that he puts together on.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I haven't disliked any of them so far. So.
Yeah. All right, let's go again.
I found myself seeking shelter against the wind.
Let's go again. That organ in the back. It's interesting that there was a lot of driving visuals here or riding visuals. I feel like this would be a perfect song for driving to.
Yeah. Just like driving around and, like on a nice day or down the coast or something and just listen.
Well, even have your hand out the window and, that feeling of the wind against your hand against the wind, right? Yeah. Very fitting. And we heard the backing vocals there.
Later on in
I'm pretty sure
half.
that was Glenn Fry. Had some of that Eagles feel that I'm somewhat familiar with in that. And it was interesting as well. The story within it was almost seemingly the first verse, second verse, third verse was like his life story as he was aging from the beginning to the end. And, even at the end, maybe he was a little less wild, but he still had these life pressures that come against you, meaning that he's still against the wind in that instance.
Yeah, from start to end.
So, as long as you live, it's always going to be something that's there, but you just kind of, make the most of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then, the comparison to the wind, it's like, that's not something that ever goes away. It's always out there in the atmosphere, in nature, right?
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on the song?
I really liked it. I think this is definitely like, before we started this, I had said old time rock and roll was like my favorite. And obviously that's a way more upbeat kind of jamming out song. This is, like you said, something that I feel like is a completely different setting, like more for relaxing, driving, hanging out. So I did really like this. I just feel like they're different. So it's kind of hard to compare, but I would put it up there in ones that I like the most.
Yeah. I mean, it won a Grammy, so going into this, my expectations were like, this is
obviously it's very good,
probably gonna be pretty good. But yeah, it did have a different vibe to it. It was very tranquil to me in terms of, it was relaxing and calming and a calming effect. Like you said, old time rock and roll, a lot of energy, like let's get up and dance and have a good time.
Yeah. Like I feel like this is something that I would put on, like you said, while you're driving, or if you're like, you just have music on while you're like cooking or cleaning the house or just hanging out while you're doing something else, like folding laundry or whatever. I feel like this is the kind of music you could listen to when you're just every day, like relax, like your daily routine kind of vibe.
And I was just going to say, it's pretty crazy that he can go from that old time rock and roll to this and it still be so fitting for his vocal and his voice.
Yeah, he sounds like it fits in perfectly on both of those tracks.
Yeah, well, let us know if you guys like this one as much as some of the other
give
ones.
Us a thumbs up
that we've done on the channel. Night Moves was another one that we had done, a little more similar to this one, I would say. And I really have enjoyed Bob Seger quite a bit. We actually came to this one via the members. They voted and they wanted us to come back to Bob Seger, so that's how we've come back to it. Yeah, thank you everybody. If you're a subscriber, if you're a viewer, if you just stopped by to hang out with us, if you're a member, if you're a contributor, we appreciate all you guys. We would not be where we are today without you.
So grateful for your guys' support.
Thank you, and thanks to Bob for making a great song and Against the Wind. And if you want to add it to your playlist, go in the description down below. If you want to come back tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.